Hi everyone, Arpitha here. I'm a sustainable fashion designer and I help you build a sustainable wardrobe. This is a series where I talk to industry experts to make you understand more about sustainability in the world. Today we have Akanksha Thakur, who is passionate about building a conscious consumer community. So let's welcome her. Hi Akanksha, so happy to have you today.
Hi Arpitha, how are you? I'm so glad that we're doing this on this afternoon and I'm looking forward to our conversation.
It's been a while that we spoke about this interaction, but finally we could manage to do today. As far as I know you are active on Instagram. You are building a conscious consumer community there. So it's called the alt living. Just explain about it to all of us.
Hi everyone, my name is Akanksha. I run this Instagram community called Online Shopper Community, the Alt Living. The idea is to embrace the concept of conscious consumerism. In the community, I cover a wide range of topics. So there is fashion, there is food, there is travel, there are lifestyle choices. At the same time, in the community, we throw light on things that make it difficult for us to make these choices. So there's one thing about knowing conscious consumerism as a concept, and there's another thing of being a conscious consumer because we have to unlearn a lot of things and at the same time adopt new habits. So in the community, we say changing one shopping list at a time. And it is all about bridging this distance between knowing about conscious consumerism and being a conscious consumer.
Actually, as you mentioned, like I also have one thing, one wardrobe at a time. I generally try to explain about the sustainability in the fashion world. So that's my thing. Okay, now what does sustainability mean to you?
In very, very simple terms, like how I understand it, sustainability as a concept is it's a work in progress concept. What I mean by it is that there's no gold standard that okay, now I've done XYZ and I am sustainable. With every new scale that you achieve in a business, with every new product that you launch, there's more and more that you can do to be sustainable. And that whole thing of, now what we need sustainability is a complete paradigm shift where we start looking at things from a very comprehensive lens that includes planet, people, animals, everything. I strongly feel that sustainability means like a whole paradigm shift to have more wholesome lens to look at things, to look at businesses, and it's a work in progress. There's no gold standard that this is only sustainable. With everything, we can go a one step ahead too.
Oh, yes, that is so true. What I believe is every day is a learning day for everyone. So I generally believe in one thing every time you try to grow yourself at least 1%. That's it. Whatever your belief system is, try to grow 1% from it. If you look at it after 5 years or so, you have grown such big way. So that's what I believe in.
Wonderful concept. I really loved it. That 1% rule. I mean, let's not overwhelm ourselves. Let's just make it a
Yes,
1% rule only.
that concept works for everything you do in your life. Everything, wherever you want, you can just use that rule. You are into this sustainable and conscious consumerism place. So explain everybody how they can be sustainable in their lifestyle. Give some tips there.
It's a very funny question and a deep question at the same time. I'll tell you why it is both funny and deep. The fact is that whenever we have answered anything which has to do with the how, like be it our school questions, exam questions, or even at workplace, it's always like dividing that problem into checklist that XYZ do step one, step two, step three, and this is the goal. Now, it's slightly funny in the concept of conscious consumerism and even the community that I run because the it is anti checklist because we stand for reclaiming our power as consumers and as individuals. So when we create a checklist sort of a thing, we are somewhere giving away our power. So it is about coming back to our own power and understanding that what is important to us. One thing where you can start this journey is surely by understanding your overconsumption patterns. So we are not even aware. We have seen our parents doing it or we see our friends doing it and we are like, that's how it has to be done. But sadly, with whatever we saw in 2020, 2021, it's not that we can go ahead with our lifestyle choices as it is. We really need to understand where are we over consuming, and areas for that will be different for different people. For example, I can have this interest in gadgets, right? I need this, that. So I need to understand that there's a need and there's a want, how frequently I am using it, how am I disposing them. For somebody else it can be like skincare, it can be anything. So I mean, the area that we like a lot, if we start noticing our overconsumption patterns in that area, I think that is a good entry point, because then we love that area. We don't have to like give up everything, but it is in our interest to change habits around that. So I think first and foremost is like understanding your overconsumption patterns.
Actually, I agree with you. Wherever is your favorite thing, no, that's where you need to see your patterns. Because for me, being a fashion designer, it used to be clothes. I always used to overconsume. Like it's been some years now, I'm very conscious about my clothing. I don't buy much at all. But as you said, some people might be on the electronic side. Like my husband, he is completely into electronics. Generally, men are into electronics. So the way you said, it's so correct. That's how it should be. We need to start from where our favorite things are.
Yeah, we have the motivation throughout the journey, and then if we love it so much, we would be concerned about how are we disposing it. We'll take a little more effort of maybe procuring, looking for things if we can buy second hand. Okay, what are the brands that are doing something that can be good for the planet and people, that kind of research. So I think first point would be to understand what you love and your overconsumption in that area.
Me being a fashion designer, my first question goes to clothing only. So I want to understand about your wardrobe choices. So what are the changes in your wardrobe that you have done when you got into this conscious consumerism?
I was just like anybody who's watching it right now. I was also not concerned about what my consumption patterns or my demands or my needs have an impact. It's fairly in 2020 when I got a chance to like reflect, introspect, is when my journey started. So, first of all, what I did was like I put myself into this low buy year challenge. Why did I do that? It was simply because I had too much of stuff that I could have handled at that time. So first thing is, when you have an overflowing tap, it's prudent enough to like close the tap first and then clean the mess in the bathroom, right? So that's what I did. I went through this low by year challenge. It's still on. I mean, there's no challenge now. I just don't feel the need. And it's just not simple as, I'm not buying anything new. It is also about the stories that I'm telling myself in my head. See, I have a lot of experience with dieting and food, and if you have that experience, you will know that it always comes back because we don't really go to the root cause. It's like, I want to look good for X function and let me just do it, and I just find it very difficult to maintain it after that. Similarly, if I tell myself that I have a problem with what I'm buying and I'm buying too much and I'm hoarding, it's important that what sort of stories I'm telling myself. Am I telling like disempowering stories that, oh, good fashion is not for me, X, Y, Z? What they're disempowering, because once when you have a bad day, it will all come out like, oh my god, let me just go and buy. That's how I've done in the past also. But now this year, it was more about what is the story that I'm telling myself in the head. And for anybody who wants to start any change, I think clarity on your why. will take you a long way, because ups and downs will come, and it's very important to have clarity. And second thing is to be gentle when you make a mistake, because being too critical about ourselves, I mean, there's no point there. I mean, it doesn't help, because when something can be done with being kind and gentle to yourself, why do you want to take a harsh route? Then second thing that I did was I realized that I used to earlier declutter as an excuse to buy more clothes. That is something that has completely changed. I mean, decluttering is not an excuse to buy more. Then what I also did was I tried and understand, like, what are these clothes? I mean, I had a lot of clothes and half of them I don't even like. So what happened before 2020? I was working in a development sector. I was a development sector consultant, so I had a lot of field work. I was traveling across India, visiting village, tier 2 towns, tier 3 towns, and major chunk of my wardrobe was all about things in a way where I never wanted to be seen, and to blend into the settings, and in a way I was just playing small. And when I realized that's not my personality, and that's one pattern that I was repeating, because maybe it was a work requirement, but I don't have that work requirement now. So that's a pattern that I have to break out of. I don't have to repeat it, because it will again result in hoarding and stuff like that. So that's my journey till now, with being more conscious and making more better wardrobe choices. And plus, even if there are trends like or sentiments like shop small that are very vocal at the moment, I still, like, add a layer to it, that even if it's a small business, how sustainable are they? Are they ensuring fair trade practices at their level? Are they ensuring ethical procurement? What is the fabric that they're using? So it's not just about, let me just buy it. If I don't like it, I will toss it. No, that attitude towards wardrobe choices, that has completely shifted, and it's so refreshing to have a clarity, between your needs and your wants. So that's something which is very new to me, and that's what I am loving right now in my journey.
That's a really great information there. So many tips included in that. Actually, I really love the way you said about the tap example. That's so true. When you open the tap, it's rushing, water is rushing. First thing you need to do is switch it off first. Then you take care of the water in the bathroom. That's really good. This decluttering thing was never a thing for so many years. I always had all the clothes which I have from many years. But recently, what I did is, like 2 3 years ago, I realized immediately, I just switched it off. That's it. I don't want to buy anything. Let me
Mm.
just clear out my wardrobe, like the cleaning the bathroom part. I
Yeah.
just did everything, and now I have limited clothes. Then I started thinking slowly, do I need more? Do I miss something? Like if I have given off so many pants, I don't have any pants, then I might want one pant. So where
Mm.
do I buy? Which brand? All those things, like how
Yeah.
you said. Already there are so many tips in your answer, but still, if you have any specific points, tell the viewers or the listeners, how does anyone change their clothing choice?
The first thing that pops up in my head at this moment is the fact that if you take out time to sit with yourself on the floor of your room, that's when you really, understand what is it that you need to change. uh, we have so much of exposure, and there's so much of layers of conditioning that's added, how we think that our personality is something which is very rigid. We forget that it's a trained behavior. We have been trained to think like that and ask for things like that, XYZ. So the fact that when we take out time to connect with ourselves, and there's no universal way of doing it. For me, it was on a yoga mat. For you, it can be walking, running, dancing, journaling, painting, meditating, or even in a community setting, like talking out what is in your head. So anywhere where we can establish a connect with ourselves, and we understand, like, I said in the previous answer, that when I looked at my wardrobe, I realized that major chunk of it was about playing small, but that's not my personality. So that's a pattern that I realized that I don't want to repeat. I don't want to repeat it in my life, and my clothing choices also changed accordingly. Connecting with yourself is one way of, really understanding what is it that you like. As I said, there are no checklists for it, and there's no one way of connecting or going within. Take out time to establish that connect with ourselves.
That's really well said, Akanksha. As you said, connecting with yourself is like really important. When I was looking at my wardrobe, I realized I don't wear much of colors. I generally like black, red, and white. These are the three favorite colors of mine. So most of my wardrobe is filled with these colors. Then I realized, okay, let me just cut it down to only those three colors for myself, because I like those. Why don't I stick to those only? Then that way, what happened? I don't have to worry about combinations, the color combinations and all. Any piece you pick out from these three colors, it will match with the other one. So that way, my wardrobe has become like so versatile, so fluid. It's like so convenient for me. Every day, I can just pick anything; it will match. So that's what I did for my wardrobe. I'm sure, as you said, everybody will have their own way. They have to identify that. So when I was giving away all my clothes to my friends and relatives, they were like, no, no, how can you be only with three colors? I love all colors. I want to wear so many colors. So it's different for them. So you need to identify. As you
Yeah,
correctly said, we need to identify what works for us, what is us. Like how you thought you don't want to play small anymore, so that's your thing. So
yeah,
everybody, whoever are listening or watching this, they need to get into that space. As you said,
yeah.
sit on the floor and think about it properly. You will get answers.
Yeah, I mean, we have to be our own influencers. We see somebody else wearing it, and then we're like, oh, it's looking lovely. Let me just buy it without asking ourselves that is it making us feel comfortable? Is it making us feel what we want to feel? And that's about it. So what if we just start flipping that thing, say that we are going to be our own influencers.
Yeah,
So
that's a really good one. Nowadays, influencers are like everywhere. Everybody is an influencer, but we don't need to follow them for everything. Just take some tips and ideas from them and implement on yourself in your own way. Coming to my next question, I have seen you making like reels and posts about conscious mindset. You always talk about conscious consumerism. At the same time, being conscious in your mindset is also very important. So can you just give some conscious mindset tips?
actually, thank you for appreciating for the reels and all. See, my idea was very simple. I was like, when we were talking about what sustainability is, I said there has to be a full paradigm shift about how we look at things. And conscious mindset is about that new paradigm wherein we think about from a lens that is from bigger lens, from a more comprehensive view. So in my reels, in my post, when I'm talking about conscious mindset, the major tip is to understand that it's just not that if I throw something in, for example, like let me take an example to explain it. That if I think, okay, let me just throw it away, clothes, gadgets, or anything for that matter. Where is that away in that? I mean, I live in Delhi, and I know when I cross the outskirts of Delhi, there is this big pile of garbage that's just growing and growing. I've seen it, flourish in a way. And that's where there's no away. There's nothing away in that throwaway. And in school we were told that don't litter, put it in the dustbin. But what is the journey after dustbin? So I mean, instead of blaming our education system or XYZ, why can't we just start asking ourselves these questions? That okay, they are saying that you know they sell when there are sales. This is 70% off or buy one get one. But do we ask ourselves that do I really need it? Or when we see something on a 70% off, do we ask ourselves, is it that I'm buying it because it's just like 999? These questions. So everything is being pushed towards us, but are we pausing for that second? So major tip is, are we pausing for that second to ask ourselves that what is important for us? So one tip is majorly that, start experiencing that pause, understanding that it's not just about I want this. What are the repercussions also? What is before life and after life of that my want? I think that's how I can break down the whole concept of paradigm shifting. And that's what I'll say about conscious mindset.
I can relate to you when you said take that pause. As you said, that's very important. Before we go to shopping, actually, before we start thinking about shopping, then only you need to pause and think. Actually, the way you said is really true and really correct. Everybody need to just start thinking about that pause. So that's a really good answer. I've seen your Instagram live videos. There, one latest Instagram live with Sarah from Wearing Your Worth. That conversation was like so inspiring for me. I really enjoyed that conversation between you both. Can you just remember some points from that conversation and give us some pointers here?
I am so grateful that I got this opportunity to like have her come and speak to my community members. So I run this entity called What It Means to Shop Consciously, and the idea is to get different people from across the globe. Sarah is from Australia, to come and talk about what it means to shop consciously. And she has been like a fashion industry veteran, and now she runs this thing about wardrobe wisdom. And it was so incredible, as you said it, like, if you all of us who are watching this can actually go benefit from that conversation, and that's there on my Instagram page in case you want to check it out. And the idea was about uncovering the power of our clothes. That was the conversation, and we went through so many layers. I mean, if you'll ask me right now, major takeaway for me was that fashion is a form of communication. So when you're so what is it that you want to communicate, and what is it that you want to feel? I mean, we have been told that, dress like this to feel powerful and XYZ, but are you feeling powerful? Are you not feeling powerful? What power means to you in your fashion choices? So thinking about it like that. Second, I think fashion is not frivolous, as they say it. Fashion is the extension of our personality. I mean, I don't want to repeat that, but the fact that I learned so much about my own personality just by looking at my wardrobe, I think that if we start understanding, fashion is one place where we can really uncover our unconscious patterns. Do we fall back to something safe? Do we fall back to something very loud? Do we fall back? I mean, there are a lot of permutation combinations. When we look at our own wardrobe choices, we figure out that how are we feeling? Uh, how do we want to feel? So I think wardrobe is one place wherein our unconscious patterns become very clear to us. The conversation itself is very insightful, and there's so many layers. It's about masculine and feminine side that we have, that we all of us have, and how to balance it, and how do we have some style essence which is very unique to us. It's like a unique fashion print, I'll call it. That's what I remember from the conversation. I mean, and that's what I try and now implement in my choices also.
Yeah, that conversation was really, really informative. I'll just leave the link of that conversation in the description box, so whoever are interested, they can just go and check it out. I've given so many tips and all to everyone. I'm not thinking in that way anymore. So people come up to me and ask, when you are a fashion designer, how can you think like this? Because I say don't shop much. I say you don't need so many clothes, But being a fashion designer, everybody thinks I'm supposed to say, you buy this, you buy that, this is the trend, these are the colors. I need to say that. That's what people expect from me. That conversation opened my mind to many more things. As you mentioned, the feminine side, the masculine side, all those kind of things. For me personally, I'm like more towards the masculine side. My clothing generally depicts that. So I started understanding all those things after listening to that conversation. I was completely like blown away with that conversation.
Thank you for such kind words. It means a lot.
You are doing really good. You continue doing that. July is considered as plastic free month, right? So what are the actions that did you take throughout this month? Give us some tips so that people will understand that angle as well.
For me, it was a new knowledge that, in last 2 years, I understood that there's something like plastic free July. And in case if you are not aware, let me just like very briefly, it's a global awareness campaign wherein the idea is to ditch single use plastic. So in the community and personally for me, the idea for plastic free July was to have to talk about alternatives and swaps, but at the same time to create certain systems to create that it goes beyond July. So it is not about how perfectly we are doing things, it's about how many of us are doing things. And if we create like a strong barrier to entry in terms of that you have to be so perfect, then that will defeat the purpose because a lot of people will just give up. They don't want to enter this space. So the idea of plastic free July for me and for the community members, it was about creating systems of, I had something like a DIY day, that instead of buying something just from the store which is going to have plastic packaging and other things, can we make that same thing at home? So you don't I am not a DIY ninja. I like no, but there's certain things, simple things that we can do it on our own. There was how can we make sure that we're not forgetting our cloth bag, because if we have that, we cut out on that plastic. If you're buying in bulk, how can we optimize it? And so there was simple things with the idea and with some sort of hacks and insights to take it beyond July. And that's what I keep telling my community members also, that maybe if you take one habit from this entire month, I just want that it goes beyond July. And that's the idea. So we talk about alternatives, swaps, everything, but at the same time, how do can we make it an everyday thing then? So it's not about adding 10 things and then forgetting them after 31st of July, but maybe adding one, two, three, whatever your capacity is at the moment, wherever you are in your journey, and taking it beyond July.
Actually, taking it beyond July is the goal. It should be the goal. So July is just the starting point. Taking it beyond should be the goal. And coming to the fashion side, I am in a process where it is like fashion detox for 3 months. Like it's June, July, August. All 3 months, you don't buy anything at all, just nothing. So if you can control yourself for these 3 months, maybe the fourth month also you can control, the next month also. That's how it should go. So you are building your conscious consumer community.
It's a conscious shopper community. The 3C concept is change,
Huh?
meets creativity, meets
Yeah.
community, is consciousness. So, how do we define consciousness? So, when there's a
Okay.
need to change, that meets
Huh?
creativity of how I can do it differently,
Huh?
and creativity stands for that. And you have the support of the community members. So, that is consciousness, because need will has to come first, like need to change comes internally. Creativity
Yeah.
is your expansion of yourself,
Huh?
and community adds different layers to it, because it's impossible to know, there's so many lens to look at things from.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
if I'm clicking a picture, I can click a picture straight, I can click a picture like this.
Huh.
Imagine the number of angles are there in this single frame. So if we
Yeah.
have a pro anything that that need to change also, there's so many angles to look at it. So community adds that dimension, and together I call it the formula for embracing consciousness.
Ah, that's a great explanation. What is the motivation behind all these things?
I was being prepared to be like a community manager for conscious consumer community alt living. I studied economics, then I started my career in PR, then I did my MBA in governance. I was a development sector professional working in the area of financial inclusion, moved to policy side, worked there for 4 years. So overall, it looks like an abstract painting which is right behind me. But all this was just preparing me to be a conscious shopper community manager. Personally, for me, I used to feel that even if I'm working in development sector, my I'm traveling across India. I'm learning so much from the field. Everything was ending up into white papers and journals. And I used to come back and I said, I've seen so much. What am I doing with it? What am I like personally? I'm not making any changes. I'm going ahead with the life as it is. So where are things going to change? I mean, at workplace, it was about giving away our power to saying, oh, we don't have XYZ grant, or there's political will is not there, or there's red tape, XYZ, giving away our power and going on with our lives as it is. So when I got a chance to like really ask myself, because I was falling in love with yoga. Yoga is union of body, mind, and soul. And I was just, I had this conversation, like a coffee date with myself, and I was like, I think I'm losing myself in existing structures. What if I create new structures? And I don't know, it's just belief in myself or what happened that I was like, I decided to take this, leap of faith, that let me create new structures, let me not lose myself, let me find union of what I want to see, the change that I want to see, change that I want to see in my own lifestyle, because there's no point preaching and not practicing. And that's how my journey and this alt living came into being.
That's an interesting story behind all this.
Thank you for this support, this conversation, this like it is adding so much enthusiasm that it was in my head, but it's making sense to people, and people want to know more about it. So like I'm so glad that we're having this conversation, and your support means a lot.
And I checked you out on Instagram. I was so impressed. I thought, okay, she's doing something so people can just relate to it and just understand and change themselves. That's a great thing to do. At present, we are in a place where we don't know if our next generation can see the world the way we are looking at it right now. It can just collapse one day. There won't be any future, so those things are possible. So now the way we are getting conscious, we need to get conscious, and you are working hard to make everybody understand that conscious behavior, the mindset, all those things. That actually impressed me. That's why I thought I need to have the conversation. I need to bring you to many more people, and people should start doing all the things whatever you are saying.
Fingers
Yeah, so until now, you have told your story, your ideas, and everything. So, what are the future plans? What are you planning for the upcoming year?
future plans. I want that every individual and every business is people and planet positive. I mean, to simply say it like that. But to be very specific, so I'm launching like a container. I call it a container wherein people can come in and that that bridging that distance between knowing and being. So there's going to be focus on self awareness and integration of that awareness, that a container that I'm opening up very soon. So when we are in the corporate world, there's so much of theory and literature about change management, but when it comes to making changes in our personal lifestyle, we think it's just about willpower. But there are a lot of factors at play, and we need expansion of awareness That's very critical because, like the lens story that I shared earlier. So that's why this community come container, it's going to be a subscription based thing that's coming up. The other thing is the alt studio. So I know as consumers we are demanding that there should big brands should become conscious, they should change their strategies, but at the same time small businesses, medium sized businesses, they cannot shy away from being sustainable and conscious. I mean, after 10 years there's going to be no differentiator if you're sustainable or not sustainable, because I mean, we don't have resources. There's no unlimited supply of resources that are available on this planet. So it's an important fundamental requirement now, but it's accessible to, corporates and large companies, but it's not available for small and medium sized startups, companies. So the idea of all studio is going to help them in their ideation, in their operations, in their communication, where to offer conscious services or products for that matter. So that is the other thing. And third thing is that Instagram community will always be there to support, to talk about the challenges, talk about breaking down these concepts about what is conscious, like the reels that I make about conscious mindset. So every content that is being put out in Instagram community is with the intention that it triggers something, it sows a seed that okay, just because I've done it always, I don't have to continue with that behavior. I can change the demand, and truly to support the concept of vote with your wallet. So these are the things that I have for the future.
All the best for all those things, whatever you're planning for.
Thank you.
As you said, the sowing the seeds is the important thing. That's what we all need to do. I also try hard to tell everybody about how they can be sustainable with their garments and everything.
Have seen your series about, you talk about the fabric, because we don't have that information. We used to think, I mean, when you're going and shopping in like Zara or H&M, you're not looking at the material. I mean, most of it is polyester or whatever. So as a generation, we were never bothered. When our moms used to buy, even if they're buying saris, they used to look at the material. They had that understanding. But for us, sadly,
Yeah, that is so true. Actually, in my friends and my family, at that level also, nobody knows. My parents, it stopped at my mom's generation, I feel. And I'm trying hard to bring that back through my community, like YouTube and Instagram. Now I have podcast also. So all those places, I'm trying to reach out to many people so that they can understand what it is. Basic knowledge about the fabrics need to be given to everyone, fabrics, and then how they can rewear their clothes, all those kind of things. I'm working in that section. Thank you so much for being here and helping everybody understand about the alternative living. It's really informative. Thank you so much for being here today.
thank you. Pleasure is all mine. I mean, thank you for giving me this platform. Thank you for speaking to me. Thank you for listening to my ideas. And the work that you are also doing is incredible. I mean, I learn every day so much with your videos, with your posts. And that's the whole that, we can support each other in our journey to make better decisions. So we can really change the demand. And we think that an individual is powerless, but no, we have that. Yeah.
I agree with you. I really agree with you. One person takes to change anything. Start the change at least. All the best for your future. All the best for everything you do.
Yes, and all the best to you too.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much for being part of this conversation. I hope you enjoyed watching it or listening to it. If you have any questions regarding this conversation, just drop them below so that I can reply to you. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.